Hey guys! Today I'm going to talk to you about Marvel's Miss Marvel, the newest Disney Plus MCU show, which hits Disney Plus on June 8th. Now, this review is based solely on the first 2 episodes, which is all I have been sent by Marvel. Let's dive into it. Let's get my spoiler-free review. But before we do, if this is your first time here, I'd love it if you take 1 second and hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on more videos like this, more reviews, reactions, and celebrity interviews. Okay, guys, let's talk Miss Marvel. So I need to start off by saying I am a fan of Miss Marvel from the comics. So this is not the comic book Miss Marvel that we get, but it kind of is. I know that sounds kind of confusing, but listen, this is the Miss Marvel in spirit from the comics, right? As you guys probably know if you are a fan of her, she's a massive Avengers fangirl, right? Specifically for Captain Marvel, but she's just always in awe of them, right? She loves them, and that's something if you played the Marvel Avengers game, you know, like, because that actually happens when she meets them. She's like, oh my goodness, I'm talking to them. Like, she's me. I'm like, I get you, girl. Kamala, you and me, the same. That's how I am, so I totally understand. I love that they embrace the fangirl side of her in this show. Now, of course, her powers change in the comics. She usually stretches to big, and in this, it's more an energy. Now, they describe it really, really well. The reasoning for it that we understand so far of the first 2 episodes is good. It's a good explanation. I'm not mad at it. They do hint at stuff, you know, you guys have seen it, I think, in the trailer, but she ends up doing energy over her hand to make her hand big, which is kind of her signature thing in the comics, so I'm glad they addressed that, even though it wasn't herself growing. Now, is this because maybe it's a little difficult? Maybe it costs more money to make someone grow versus something come out of them. Maybe it looks a little better. Maybe it's because Reed Richards is going to be coming into the MCU, permanently-ish. And, you don't want 2 people who stretch. I don't know the reason behind it. It's a little annoying, but I'm not mad at it. The execution actually works. And if you kind of put aside your feelings of Miss Marvel's comic book powers, you can kind of get over it. Now, something else I love about her is her heritage. You know, she's Pakistani, and you get that heritage and that culture. You get all that in this show. Talk about representation. There's so many references to it. There's, you just go through her life and you talk about her going to the mosque, her family life at home, wearing a shirka. Like, there's all these things that they just weave into here like they're natural, sort of, except she does, obviously, we've seen it in the trailer, and it is in these first 2 episodes where she says, the brown girl from Jersey isn't the hero, right? Isn't the one who saves the day. So they do this weave stuff in there naturally, which I appreciate. It's great to see that representation on screen. Now, when it comes to the episodes, I mean, they're good, okay? They're not great. This is very much geared towards a younger audience. Like, my children who are 9 and 10 are going to appreciate this show so much more than I will. However, like I said, I kind of love Miss Marvel in the comics. Like, I'm kind of a big fan of hers. So I do enjoy what they're doing. But this feels very Netflix, rom-com, like teenage, To All the Boys I've Loved Before type show. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. They fully embrace that. That's just kind of where this show is going. Now, there is mention of things like cocaine and alcohol. So in my head, I was like, wait. Is this for kids? Is this not for kids? Is it for tweens? Is it for teens? I mean, I don't mind that stuff being mentioned in shows my kids watch, but I know that a lot of parents are stricter than me. So, and they're not glorified by any means, but they are mentioned. So it's interesting because this does feel very much like a tween, early teen show overall. Now, there isn't a whole lot of action, but each episode does have a massive action sequence, right? It does have a really good action sequence. The first one, not as long or entertaining, but it's there, and because of where it takes place, there's some really cool things that happen during the action sequence. And then there's like a really big one in episode 2. Of course, it just feels like it's towards the end, and it feels like, oh, we're finally here. Okay, let's go. Because listen, I really enjoyed the first episode. I thought it was fun. It's a unique style that adds like this animation along with the live action. There's like comic booky stuff moving around because she's an artist, and she like has her own YouTube channel, which I think is really fun, like stuff like that. And then that's all in the first episode, and it's a whole lot of fun. And then we get to the second episode, and it feels a little convoluted. Feels like a lot is going on. And it feels like there's one side storyline that happens with her best friend, one of her best friends, that just kind of feels, well, actually, each best friend, this is part of the problem, each of her best friends kind of has their own storyline that gets introduced into episode 2, and it just feels like a convoluted episode. It feels like, whoa, guys, slow down. There's a lot going on, and I want to focus on Kamala. I want to see where Miss Marvel is going. I want to see how she's growing. I want to see how she's honing her powers. And you get a little bit of that, but there's so much else going on that it just feels like it's a little bit all over the place. Too much. There was too much in episode 2. Now, this is kind of what happens when we only get like 6 episodes for a series. Unfortunately, it's great because you feel like you have that time for a character to grow because it's a series versus a movie. But then sometimes they bring in too much and you're just like, there's too much going on. I see what you were doing. I appreciate what you were doing. But like, it could have been more focused on the main story, if that makes sense. Now, by the time we get to the end of episode 2, I was like, okay, here we go. All right, I'm in now. Like, there's major things that happen right at the end, and I was like, all right. Yes, this is what I wanted. So I enjoy it overall. It's funny. It's fun. Again, it's that very, like, teen tween, like, humor and stuff like that that's going on. You know, it doesn't feel as massive as the other MCU shows, but I don't think that's a bad thing. This is very much geared towards a younger audience, but something that everyone can enjoy. I think it's okay. I'm excited to see where it goes because, like I said, at the end of episode 2, I was hooked. So I give the first 2 episodes overall of Miss Marvel a 3 out of 5. It's not bad. I just want more of her, right? I want the story to be focused on her because episode 2 lost me. It was just too much going on, but I'm very excited for the future. You guys let me know what you think of Miss Marvel. Are you excited for it? Or if you've already seen it by the time you get to this review, let me know what you thought down below in the comments. You guys can check me out at MamasGeeky.com. You can also check me out over on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. I'm at MamasGeeky over there. MamasGeeky. Thanks for taking the time to watch this, guys. I'll see you next time. Thank you so much to all my monetary supporters, my members, and my Patreons. Love you guys.